So, new day. We have a few problems with the Miata that I didn't really mention in the previous video. They're not really problems, but we swapped over the transmission, swapped over the ECU from the automatic ECU over to the manual ECU, and now we're having a loud hissing problem coming from the throttle body. Now, this sound would mostly be masked by the air filter that's on there, the stock air box, but we have upgraded it to Leroy's air filter system that they have. So it makes a little bit more noise. You might be able to hear it in the video right now. The car's on and running. It's really not that loud, but it's still there, and it's making more noise than it should. So we're actually heading, or just me really, Kylie's up with Leo, but I'm heading over to Leroy. We're gonna do some troubleshooting, see if we can figure it out, and yeah, you'll get to meet Jonathan and any other guys if they're there too. But yeah, let's head over there. All right, so what was the problem?
Okay, so there's no problem. So this is an NB throttle body. There's 3 different ways that air gets into the engine. So if you're not on throttle and the throttle blade's closed, there's no air getting around there. Under here, you have the idle air control valve. So there's a hole there. Okay. Air will go down and through the here. You have a solenoid that it meters how much of it can then go through this passage, which pops up back here.
Gotcha.
So that's why when the throttle blade is closed, the engines can still idle. The computer control how much air goes through.
Okay.
That has a finite range of adjustment.
Gotcha.
So there's a second little hole up here.
Okay.
That pops out here and is a metered leak controlled by this screw. So
Gotcha.
you want your idle air control to be in the middle of its range so it has room to go both directions.
Okay.
So you set your base idle by pulling that screw out and basically having a metered leak through there. Air going through that hole is what makes the noise.
Gotcha.
Because that's literally shaped like a whistle. So if you open this really far, mechanically it's completely happy, but it's going to whistle.
Okay.
So what we did, and the stock air intake is engineered to knock out noise.
Gotcha. Yep.
But everyone was, I want the intake noise. Well, you're going to get the whistle then. Yeah. So what I did was, there's this screw, which is a throttle blade stopper.
Okay.
So you don't actually want the throttle blade to touch the wall. So that's the reason this stopper exists.
Okay.
If it were to do that, it'd start digging the wall, and then it would damage it, and eventually you'd have a gap through there. So I just cracked the throttle blade open and closed this, and used the cracked throttle blade as our metered leak instead of using the
whistle.
The whistle. We've had some high performance ones, but we've actually drilled holes in the throttle blade.
Oh wow!
Because we need a certain amount of bypass, and this wasn't giving it to us. So you just punch a hole, and a leak's a leak.
Gotcha.
Right? So
very cool. Thank you. So we ended up, since today right now the shop is open, Jonathan's here and he's just kind of helping us out with things. One of the things that I've been wanting to do is add in a gauge panel that also has temperature sensors on it and all that stuff. They have a kit and all that stuff for it, so we got that kit, and at the meantime too, it doesn't hook up into the actual stock radiator, and the stock radiator that was in there, half of it's for the transmission, which was for the automatic. The other half is actually for coolant and stuff like that. So we ended up swapping out a different radiator as well. And now I'm wiring together a harness, and this is for the radio because we also need a new radio. So we went out, bought like a $20 radio, and now we're putting that into the Miata. So we're just kind of chilling, working in the garage. There's a few other guys here, but yeah, we're having some fun just putting all this stuff together, doing some wiring harnesses, crimping some wires, and then we'll be putting this stuff all into the Miata, and you'll see the end result. All right, so we just made it back from Leroy, and we did everything that, I was kind of hoping to get done. We ended up fixing the whistling noise, which you saw in the clip earlier, coming from the throttle body. We fixed that. Really simple issue, as you saw. We thought it might have been something more, but nope, it was pretty simple. The other things that we ended up doing, which I'll overlay some videos of it now, is put in some temp gauges, a new radio, and then also a new radiator as well. These are all upgrades I've been wanting to do for a while, but I just haven't really had the chance to do it yet. But we finally got around. You know, Jonathan had a free day down at the shop, and so he helped me install all this stuff with some guidance along the way as well. And yeah, so we got those gauges working, water is going, everything basically turned out pretty good and smooth. Really no issues that we came across, just had to fill up the coolant and all that stuff. So yeah, pretty easy, successful day. Only took maybe 3 hours to do. But yeah, we'll see where we take us for the next little upgrades that we want to do. I know there's still a few more things I would like to get done. But tomorrow is autocross day up at the Lake Erie Motor Speedway, so we're gonna have some fun up there, take some videos, and probably post it as a separate video. But yeah, this is just another kind of day and what I did and what we did to the car. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed. So I kind of feel like there's gonna be a lot of these that I end up doing. But one of the things that I also forgot that we did was on the oil filter, we added a little extension on there that helps read the oil pressure. So instead of being right up against the engine and where it is, there's a little mount that kind of mounts up and back. You'll see that in one of the clips. And then also the other thing that we did was add another fan temperature switch. So instead of the stock one being at 209, it is now set to go to like 175 instead, where the fans start to turn on. But that was just another thing that we ended up doing that I completely forgot about. So a little bonus clip at the end.